And essentially he gives his entire life over to the poem, but manages to remain astonishingly creative and prolific while he's writing Faust. Now, the first part of the poem, well, the subtext is the destruction of the medieval world and its replacement by a modern society. The drama, the poem, begins with a prologue in heaven, in which the demon Mephistopheles obtains permission to try and effect the ruin of Faust's soul. God is confident that the demon will fail and predicts the ultimately positive conclusion to this cosmic contest. The poem opens with Faust in his high Gothic study, and he is miserable. The attainment of wisdom comes at the cost of isolation, and Faust is disillusioned with the world and in great despair. Mephistopheles appears first as a black poodle and offers Faust the chance to reach beyond knowledge, to enjoy pleasure, wealth, power, and the company of interesting people. Faust accepts the demon's offer, but refuses the traditional Faustian pact or bargain. Faust declares he is already in hell and needs no further punishment. Mephistopheles desperately wants Faust's soul, and thereupon alters the terms of the contract. If Mephistopheles can manage to get Faust to say that Faust is satisfied, then his driven, tormented soul wishes to rest, then the devil will have won. Done, cries Faust, and the great contest begins. Faust then passes from his Gothic study to a witch's kitchen, where apes and other animals first disgust him, but it's among these animals that he rejuvenates and grows young again. Faust is an old man when he makes his pact, and Faust has a vision of Gretchen, his future beloved. Mephistopheles, who's known as Mephisto in the play, tells the witch that although the age of reason thinks it has banished superstition, it is only a cultural coating. The evil ones remain. Later, at the celebration of Saint Walpurgia, known as Walpurgis Night, an ancient pagan festival that has been Christianized, Faust is again bewitched. He sees a vision of Adam's first wife, the naked Lilith. When he dances with the demon goddess, he sees a red mouse coming out of her mouth. And this scene is full of obscure and double meanings. The first part of Goethe's epic becomes famous in Germany for its love story. Faust falls in love with a simple young girl named Gretchen. Gretchen lives in a little house in a little town that is despotically ruled by traditional values. Faust gives her a beautiful collection of jewels in order to seduce this young virgin girl. The jewels are, of course, provided by Mephisto. She puts on the jewels and looks at herself in the mirror and sees a much different person. The person she always has had the potential to become. Gretchen knows instinctively what the gift actually means and recognizes the danger and its promise. The danger is of seduction and abandonment. But Mephisto has made Faust young and handsome again. He's 30 years younger, and Gretchen is very turned on. Faust speaks of Gretchen's escape from the narrow room where she spends her life in a feudal house and ancient town. Gretchen does not ponder long. She gives herself to Faust with all her heart and soul. She desires to escape her ordinary life. Sex with Faust equals the promise of a new and larger life. But Gretchen makes the mistake of making herself too available to Faust. Faust is thrilled at how she changes into a charming woman, but Faust begins to think that he needs more than Gretchen can give him. Faust abandons her This is partly the work of Mephisto, and partly the natural character of Faust. Faust is doomed by his nature never to be satisfied. Without Faust to protect her, Gretchen falls into despair. There's a baby born, and the baby from their sexual union dies. Gretchen is imprisoned and convicted of child murder. Gretchen is sentenced to death and awaits her execution. Now Faust returns and, helped by Mephisto, enters Gretchen's cell. At first, she does not recognize him and believes him to be her executioner. She touchingly offers her body to the axe. "No," cries Faust, "I have come to save you. You have only to step out of the cell, and you will be free." But Gretchen refuses. Gretchen knows that Faust does not love her, that he is acting only out of guilt. Gretchen does not desire the same type of freedom that Faust has. Gretchen knows fully well the savage cruelty of her narrow feudal world, but also recognizes the good that persists, that dwells within that world, the commitment to ideals, the dedication to a life devoted to loyalty and love. Even if her world has betrayed her, she will not betray it, or betray the love that she has for Faust. Gretchen forgives Faust, is then executed, and absolves him of any sins on her behalf, as her soul rises up to heaven. Faust feels in his heart that Gretchen has helped to free him from his diabolical pact. Faust has been purified by Gretchen's death. Now, this love story of Part 1 is in fact a challenge to traditional religion and feudal society. Goethe recognizes that a new world is being born. But for the moment, only a few can understand this fact or benefit from it. Faust, even with his brilliance, cannot free himself alone.